Welcome to the CNBC-TV18 OVERDRIVE Awards. This is the jury round, and look what an amazing year 2014 has been for two-wheelers. We've got so many bikes here. We've got bikes that take what the segment has done forever and take that to a whole new level. We've got bikes that go to segments that have never been seen in India before. It's an exciting year, and we're going to decide what is the best motorcycle and the scooter this year. But before we do that, here's the people who are going to make that decision, the jury.
Bharat Reddy is an avid motorcyclist and a track day instructor who spends as much time on the racetrack as he does chairing his thriving business empire. Siddharth Trivelaw is the CEO of Preeti Kitchen Appliances and is also the guy who introduced India to the teachings of Keith Code and the California Superbike School. Sarath Kumar is the most accomplished motorcycle racer in the country. Not only is he a multiple national champion, he's also the only Indian to have raced in the Moto3 category of MotoGP. Hali Prabhakar is Overdrive's road test editor, whose KRA is to strap on a V-box on every motorcycle launched in the country and test it. Shubhabrata Marmar, or Shumi, the executive editor of Overdrive, is the most experienced two-wheeler tester in the country, having spent 14 years evaluating motorcycles.
The Triumph Speed Triple is, in my opinion, a class of bike that I would put it as a hooligan motorcycle. And it epitomizes everything that a hooligan motorcycle should be like.
To say, I really enjoyed riding the Speed Triple. It's obviously got a 1000cc engine, 130 horsepower roundabout. It's a heavy bike, it's a heavy machine, over 200 kilos. So, you know, if you're willing to muscle it around, it does have the performance to go with it.
I think the Speed Triple has a lot of good things about it. It has a little bit of a threshold you have to cross to get to it. But I think it's a specific flavor, and it's not everybody's cup of tea as far as motorcycles go.
It does everything that you want a middleweight naked bike to do, and it does very well, and it does reward your riding skills rather well.
The only question that always comes to me when I ride that bike is, if the 85 PS model is this good, how good must be the 106 PS model, and why don't we get that? The second thing is, I think the price is a little bit high. I think if that motorcycle were priced a little more accessible to the larger buying public, that would be one of the most popular Triumphs in India.
The thing with the Street Triple I found was, you know, you have to keep it high up in the power band to get some performance out of it, otherwise the throttle gets really choppy. Other than that, I found it to be a really good machine to ride, and I really enjoyed it. You know, if you want a track day toy, this has got to be one of the best things that you will ever buy if you had a chance to get one.
For 1.5 lakhs, they are giving a lot of features with Daytona R, like suspension, all-in suspension, front and rear, and quick shifter, carbon fiber, some kit, and damper, a lot of things. These are all very important for racing.
The Daytona is a perfect track tool again in that category, but it's priced a little on the higher side, especially comparing it to the Street Triple because it's based on that bike.
It promises the idea of a retro motorcycle that's very realistic, very rideable, can be done slowly, can be done fast, and all that at a relatively good price at like the 5.5 lakh rupee mark.
There's an oral pleasure that that bike has which very few bikes can match. You kind of want to sit there and just open the throttle all day long, and it's got power, you know, right through the band, whether it's at the lower RPMs or the higher RPMs, it's effortless to ride.
It's a very comfortable bike, although I wouldn't recommend going long distances in it unless you want to change your seat. I prefer spoke wheels rather than the alloys that they've given, because I think that just completes the classic look of a Bonnie.
The Harley Street 750 has really divided opinion here. I've ridden it on the street a fair bit, and I think it's a pretty nice motorcycle to ride. Unfortunately, it's not a very Harley motorcycle to ride.
at 4.1 lakhs. It's not very inexpensive at all. The power delivery is very smooth and linear. I feel like the engine's very talky. It's got decent looks as well. There's a lot of potential for people who like to customize the Harleys. I think Street 750 is the new value Harley right now, and it makes a lot of sense for people looking at an entry Harley Davidson.
So the ER6N is virtually the same motorcycle as the Ninja 650, and that means it's a versatile motorcycle that can literally do most things. So you can lace back in it, you can go really fast on it, you can corner it. But the problem is that for as nice a motorcycle as it is, when you take away the fairing, you rob it of the excellent highway ability that the motorcycle otherwise has.
At 4.78 lakhs, it is good value for money, but there is also the Ninja, which I think at 40,000 rupees more is probably better value. But for pure joy of riding, I would say this bike is simply fantastic. The 6N is better suited for the city. I think that's what naked bikes are for, and for our city and our kind of riding condition, it fits perfectly, and it's priced really well. I think it's very impressive pricing.
I rode the Duke 390, fell in love with it in the second lap that I was on the circuit. The only bad thing I had to say about that is I came back and I think I said to my peers that I wish it had a fairing on it, and I wish the handlebars were a little lower, because then this bike would become a precision tool to carve up some canyon roads or the track. And guess what? They have done exactly that with the RC390.
What I really like about it is it's a very confident chassis, it's got great tires, and you can really push it around quite a bit. When you put that in perspective to the fact that the whole thing costs just about 2.1 lakh rupees on road, that's a very, very difficult proposition to turn down.
It's got killer looks, the performance to go with it, it's fast, it's smooth, very confidence-inspiring handling. It's more like a point and shoot. You just kind of have to point it in the direction, open the throttle, and that's pretty much all you have to do.
Coming up, some entry-level performance motorcycles and some commuters. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching the Jury Round special for the 2015 Overdrive Motorcycle of the Year award.
The Z250 is a naked motorcycle based on the old Ninja 250, and it's a really nice motorcycle. It looks absolutely stunning. It goes quite well, but when you want to go really fast, you have to get it past 10,000 RPM, which is quite a challenge in our conditions.
Very nice sounding machine. It's got that very high revving motor, which sounds really good when you're pushing it hard.
I have a feeling that it is maybe a lakh too much. If it was coming in at a lakh lesser than what it is, I would say hands down, buy that motorcycle.
It shares the engine with the sports bike, the GT250R. So you've got a cruiser here with a 11,500 RPM redline, and for that, you need a broader mind to be able to accept that. But once you get past it, it's a really nice motorcycle to ride. It handles itself quite well. There's a lot of space. It's a big, large looking motorcycle. Everybody seems to enjoy the size of it. And for 2.7 lakh rupees, if you were just in the motorcycle for the look of it, not a bad buy.
The Aquila 250 attracts a lot of people. It looks really unique.
Such a likable motorcycle. I mean, okay, so it's a twin, it's a 250, it's not really very fast if you think about it. 130 and performance is almost done. So you'd think it's a little bit of a weakling. But when you ride it, what you get to understand is how refined motorcycles can be, how calm, easy and comfortable motorcycles can be. And in that sense, if you're just going to commute and you want the superb commuter, the Inazuma is your commuter.
I wish it had a taller 6th gear because it really cuts off too early, especially when you're on the highway. But on the racetrack, though it's not a bike built for the track, it handles really well, and I think it holds its line well too. Great for a motorcycle that's actually that big, and probably in terms of styling would have been a little better.
So the Hero Charisma is Hero's first significant engineering upgrade to a motorcycle. So we were quite excited to see it. It's still relatively a small engineering job. They've just basically upped the compression ratio and they're getting more power and more economy out of it in theory. It's got a lot of Eric Buell's handiwork in it, so it looks like it does. Eric Buell unfortunately is a pretty polarizing designer, so you'll either love it or you'll absolutely hate it. There is no middle ground with Eric Buell.
It's the handling which is appalling, and that's mostly due to the fact that it's got a very long wheelbase, so it doesn't make for a very sharp handler.
This is around 250cc engine, but still they are giving a air-cooled engine. It will drop your performance after some kilometer, after you done some kilometer. Definitely it will drop your performance.
It still retains the charisma's good points. That's good highway ride and a nice relaxed bike to ride. The Suzuki Gixxer 150, I feel at the price that it comes in at is a really good bike. I feel like it's one of the top contenders this year actually for Bike of the Year. I think it's a great 150cc motorcycle and a good platform for Suzuki to develop further bikes.
That's what the Gixxer does. It comes and it offers you more torque everywhere. The handling is a little more stable than everything else. And in that sense, it's such a joyful 150 to ride. Add to that the fact that the price is 5,000 rupees less than the FZ version 2.
It comes at the right price, the build quality is fantastic. The engine, no matter how high you rev it, the vibrations doesn't come through.
That would be my pick of the 150cc segment. So Yamaha updated the FZ and I think the design looks a little bit better. It's a very cleverly done design that sticks to the old line very closely. And I think that's not such a great thing because it's very hard to identify the new one from the old one on the street. On the other hand, the engine update does actually work. The bike is a little bit lighter and so they can get away with less power and less torque. Probably give you a lot more economy in return. On the street it feels more or less like the same FZ as it did. The price has gone up 5,000 rupees and fuel injection has come in, which is also explainable. But I think the overall my disappointment is if they call it version 2, I think it needed to have more new stuff, do more stuff better than the FZ version 2 does.
Engine wise they keep the same gearing, CC, everything, but they convert from carburetor to FI fuel injector. But fuel injector they made mileage wise we can get extra mileage, but otherwise power they a little bit drop.
I feel that the Discover was quite a nice bike to ride from a commuter point of view. I mean, if you need something to get you from A to B that does everything that it's supposed to do fairly well, I think that's a good bike to ride.
When there are opportunities to build a good motorcycle for maybe due to accountant pressures, they build it to a price and say that it's an economically priced motorcycle. But what they offset by doing such things is that the build quality, the engine quality, and pretty much everything falls short of average.
I think the TVS Star City Plus, like all TVS motorcycles, is a well-made commuter. Unfortunately, like many of the TVS products, is also an unexceptional commuter. There's nothing that it does badly, but there's nothing that it does so exceptionally well that it stands out.
So there's one very big problem that I faced with this motorcycle. Every time you went to top gear and you opened throttle and tried to go anything faster than 70, 75, there was a lot of fueling issues that I felt.
This bike is very good for maybe city, something like that, but definitely we can't go with this bike highway because that gearing, everything is too shorter, and when we are traveling at the 4th gear, it's like feeling like we need one more gear, like 5th gear.
Don't go anywhere, the scooters are up next. Welcome back. It's time to check out the nominations for the 2015 Overdrive Scooter of the Year award.
When the Activa 125 was shown at the Auto Expo, I was expecting a lot of great things from it. Unfortunately, Honda have taken the safest possible route to that thing. So what you get effectively is a scooter that does everything a Honda Activa does, 5, 6, 7% better.
The Activa 125, I think, is a very typical Honda scooter. Very well built, well put together, very smooth, rides very well. It's a little uninspiring as far as the looks go, because as far as I can remember, the Activas have always looked the same. I don't see anything substantially different in this year's model. But overall, anybody buying it would not be disappointed in owning it.
So the Activa I is supposed to be the light, youthful scooter, and to me it's the weakest proposition in the whole line of Activa base scooters, because I think the suspension is too stiff and it causes the scooter to feel quite harsh on our roads.
Honda Activa I they made for ladies, I think, because it's more compact. From the showroom also they are suggesting Activa I for ladies. It's more compact, that height is not too high, and same time bike is not too heavy. So it's perfect for ladies, and same time mileage also too good with the Activa I.
As a scooter, I think the other Activas are a better bike compared to this Activa. It lacks something. I think it lacks the refinement, and it doesn't really handle well.
So the Scooty Zest is the new girl scooter from TVS, and if this is what girls are riding, boys need to worry a lot, because it's a really nice scooter on every single level.
All the scooters that I rode in the category are broadly similar performance and handling, whereas the TVS Scooty is definitely a few notches above the rest of them.
TVS power is very different, because from 0 to 40 TVS power will come very faster, and 40 to above 70 or 80, that power is more flat. It's not, you won't get grunt.
Considering TVS has so much experience in motorsport and the races, the scooter really reflects upon the lessons they've learned.
The Mahindra Gusto is a sign of good things happening at Mahindra Engineering, because they are able to create a scooter that at least acquits itself clearly as an effective 110cc scooter. At 120 kilos, it's 10 kilos heavier than most other scooters, 20 kilos heavier than scooters like the Zest. That costs it both in terms of performance and I'm assuming a little bit in economy terms.
It's amazing to think that for the price it comes in, you get things like adjustable seat heights, key fob with alarm systems.
Mahindra's learnt a lot and seen the other scooters what they lacked on, and kind of incorporated the changes into this to make it a nice scooter for India.
Let's does it. I mean, really, it does it. It's a really nice scooter. 98 kilos of curb weight. I mean, let's dance. It's a nice chassis. Let's play. It's a playful scooter. And really, I mean, you can make as much fun as you like of the name, but it's a really, really good scooter.
The Suzuki Let's was very impressive when we tested it last time on the track, in a go-kart track. And on city also it's quite good. It's quite a peppy engine. I really like that engine. But now I think the Zest is a little better handling than the Let's. But for an everyday ride, I think the Suzuki offers better quality, and I think it may last a little longer too, in my opinion. A lot more refined.
We know Yamaha Alpha is based on Yamaha Ray, because they first introduced Yamaha Ray in the Indian market. It's a successful scooter for them. From there they built this platform for Alpha.
The Yamaha Alpha is a family scooter based on the same platform as the Ray. What that means is that the basic handling of the scooter is actually quite a delight, and it's a really confident handler. But that's not why you buy the scooter, right? So what Yamaha have done is given it quite an amount of space and all of that. So it's a bigger grown scooter and it's a broader scooter and all of that thing. Wow, we've had a good year for two-wheelers, haven't we? Some spectacular motorcycles, very nice new scooters. It's a tough year to make a decision as to who's going to win, what's going to be the bike of the year and what's going to be the scooter of the year. But we've made our decision, we've reached the conclusion, and what remains is to reveal it to you. And that's coming up shortly.